This is our 9 a.m. session this morning, and it's the first one of two. And Ryan Powell, our TNE Recruitment Officer / Partner Manager for SIST, is going to talk to you about how you can join Cardiff Met and the processes that are involved for Cardiff Met students studying abroad. So yeah, if you'd like to play the video, that'd be superb.
Hi and welcome to all of our TNE students, wherever you may be joining us. Good morning, good afternoon around the world. My name is Ryan Powell. Okay, I work in a global engagement team here in Cardiff Metropolitan. I'm a partner manager for SIST in Morocco, so one of our TNE partners. And I'm also responsible for the inbound student recruitment from the Middle East region. Now, thanks to Sam for asking me to attend this session today. The idea really is just to give you an overview of the process of transferring to Cardiff Met, you know, if this is something of interest for you. I have lots of queries myself around what do we do, how do we do it, how much does it cost, what stage do we do each process. So the idea for this really is just to talk you through very quickly the process of transferring to Cardiff Met, should that be something you wish to do throughout your program with us, wherever you may be studying. Now, obviously, Cardiff Met has lots of TNE partners, and you are studying one of the Cardiff Met awards in your designated partner and country. Now, the benefit of this obviously is massive. It allows you to study that UK award in your country, and obviously, as if you're in the UK, it's quality assured by the Cardiff Met team. You will obviously have lots of visits from the team as well, and your certificate and your award on graduating will be an official Cardiff Met certificate. So this is a fantastic process with TNE. Another benefit of the TNE package is that it does allow students to transfer and complete perhaps some of the program, or even progress to a master's program here in the UK, if that again is an option to you as well. It's a far more straightforward process for a TNE partner to do that, for a student at one of our TNE partners. And what the aim of this presentation is just to show you is what is involved and what you're going to need to do in certain timescales, should you wish to be transferred in at some stage to Cardiff Met. So just to explain a little bit about the city of Cardiff then, and Cardiff Met itself, and why you might wish to be transferring to us. So as we said, you're studying a TNE program, you're studying a Cardiff Met award. You can stay in your country, and there's absolutely nothing against that. But the idea is, obviously, with this, it does give you the opportunity of coming to this fantastic city to either complete your bachelor's or to progress to masters. So Cardiff Met is a fantastic capital location, as you can see there, with high levels of student satisfaction. Now, you may have been involved in some surveys already, in completing some surveys in terms of your satisfaction in studying the program, and this goes across not only Cardiff Met students, but also across the UK. And Cardiff Met retains, is very higher level, higher than the UK average for student satisfaction. Cardiff is also one of the most affordable student capital cities, okay, in the UK, and was voted as the most affordable student city for students. And obviously, being a university city, okay, it is extremely multicultural, as you would expect from a modern, vibrant capital city in Europe. Obviously, in terms of our programs, all of our programs are designed with an employability factor built in. So all of the studies and programs you will complete, whether in country or in Cardiff, will obviously be preparing you for your time after graduation. And the student facilities on Cardiff Met, we do have two campuses. Okay, so we have the Llandaff campus and Kincoed. We do have an on-site accommodation on one of those campuses. We have world-leading sport facilities and recreation for students as well. And again, it is in the capital city, so it gives you everything you would really expect when coming to another country. And these are some of the things just to talk about for Cardiff Met. Some of these I'm sure Sam has already talked about through the week. and I'm sure your partner managers or your link tutors have also covered some of these factors when meeting you. Now, obviously, in terms of the setup for Cardiff Met, we do have an international support service, a designated welfare team that were there to help all of our international students, and have won various awards over the years in terms of being the best international support team and the top, as you can see there, the top global 15 in the UK for international student support. Some other things on there in terms of our employability, so ranked number 1 for employability and work experience satisfaction. The sporting facilities, okay, are second to none and world class for students looking to embark on a career in that pathway. And as I mentioned earlier on, the satisfaction from students is above the national average. Now, 2 things you then see on the screen as well: the Welsh University of the Year. So Cardiff Met was not only voted the Times Higher Welsh University of the Year. A few months back, we were also recognised for our efforts during the pandemic, and Cardiff Met has now been awarded the Times Higher UK and Ireland University of the Year 2021. A huge accolade for the university, credit to how far we've developed in terms of obviously our ranking climbs and everything else. So Cardiff Met really is the university to be for the time being, and you as students at a TNE partner are studying an award as part of from the UK University of the Year, and what a great badge that will be to take you on in your life of employment. And just to show them, this is the kind of an aerial shot of the city of Cardiff. So everything is nice and compact for international students. So from this shot, you've got the stadium in the sort of top right corner. You've got the Cardiff Castle. Obviously, then Cardiff has got a number of parks and facilities there for students. It's close to the coastline, and obviously the sort of top end shops, retail, and a kind of enjoyment sort of factors there for you for all international students, as you would expect. So it's one of Europe's youngest capital cities. It's very friendly, welcoming, safe environment. I'm sure you've seen this from the Cardiff Met family already. For those staff that have visited your institutions, and obviously the lectures as part of your material. So it's, we are a very friendly, welcoming community, and I'm sure if you made the journey to Cardiff, you would thoroughly enjoy your experience. Cardiff is, as we said, one of the most cost-effective student cities. Okay, it's very compact, so you can walk around nice and safely. And again, being a multicultural capital city, the facilities are there for all students of religions and faiths. Okay, and diversity is a big part of obviously the Cardiff Met culture. We have a number of videos that we can show you on the city anyway. Okay, have a look at our YouTube channel, and that will show you a lot more around the city and some of the benefits of what you, as an international student, how you would study in Cardiff and what you would experience. So what I want to talk to you now very quickly around is some of the benefits of transferring to Cardiff Met as part of your program. As we said, the benefit of a TNE program is that students can study an entire UK award in your own, obviously trusted partner from Cardiff Met. But some students do want to come to the UK. And the purpose around this really is looking for that full UK student experience. Now, as we said, you obviously will receive a Cardiff Met award, and your certificate and transcript will be issued from Cardiff Met on graduating. But some students will actually want to come to the UK for that full UK experience. And given the TNE relationship, it's far more economical. It makes more economical sense and a lot more other benefits for you in joining Cardiff Met than going to another UK university. But one of the reasons for that is that you actually, as students, you're already involved and integrating with the Cardiff Met education system. You probably know the lecturers, you know the system, you're familiar with how things work and how the systems and mechanics work of the teaching processes. And students that actually make the journey to Cardiff Met have said that transition is far easier than they were expecting. You know, they would literally turn up to a lecture and they know the lecturer from who, you know, potentially who's already visited you in the partner colleges. So it's a real sort of, it makes the change and the transition far more easier for you coming to Cardiff Met, knowing the system, knowing the modules you're already studying. You would receive personal help, okay, throughout the process. Now that's from any of the partner managers, the link tutors, the marketing team. We're there to help you. And you're going to get a level of support in coming to Cardiff Met that you wouldn't have if you go into another university. Okay, you know, again, from a personal side, we do this with SIST, so students from Morocco that come to Cardiff, they express an interest, and then we sort of obviously help and build through. And that's the same across all the partner managers here in Cardiff Met. We're here to help you, and we're here to make this process as easy as we can for you. Now, you will receive, certainly for a progression to masters, okay, so if we're looking at it from a master's side of things, you will receive an alumni discount of 25%, okay, which again is probably more than any other UK university if you were looking to progress and transfer. 25% from a master's level is equating to around £3,875 at the moment, okay, so it is important. It is a big discount there for you. Now, this discount is obviously only available at the alumni discount is for your postgraduate programs here in Cardiff. So if you've completed your degree and you're looking to come to Cardiff for a master's, there will be a standard scholarship for students looking to transfer midway through their bachelor's. So if you're looking to come to Cardiff for level 5 and 6, there will be a sort of slightly reduced scholarship there for you. But it's also worth bearing in mind the TNE scholarships that may be available. Now, depending on the times of the year, you know, it's worth talking to your partner managers, the link tutors, or your contacts in your relevant partner colleges to find out if there are any scholarships available from Cardiff Met, because we do try to offer some 50% scholarships for our partners as well. So keep an eye on that. It is worth always looking and asking the question and seeing what other support is there for you if you're looking to transfer it, certainly for level 5 or 6 in Cardiff Met. Now, if again you're looking to come to Cardiff Met for a master's program, okay, you will not need an IELTS, okay, or an English language, because basically as a university, we are saying that you have completed our program. Our program is in English, and therefore we will provide the information to the sponsor that we're happy with your levels of English. So again, it's something you don't need to worry about if you're looking to come to Cardiff Met for a master's program. Cardiff really is a safe city, okay. You will find that if you come here, you will enjoy walking around the parks, and you will find it a very safe environment. So it's a really important factor for yourselves and your parents if thinking of coming to the UK. Now, also some things are available for you if you come here for a master's, the Graduate Study Award, okay, including a graduate study visa route. So there's a package of material that we can offer there for you that will help with your employability and the potential of obtaining the graduate route visa as well. So there's a lot of extracurricular things that we will build in as part of your journey to Cardiff Met. And the other benefit I have there is that other TNE students will be in Cardiff. Okay, so you may even recognize students when you come across to Cardiff. You may have students from your class in your relevant countries and partners. Okay, but the idea is that this Cardiff Met family is growing, and as a TNE student, you are then able to come to Cardiff Met, you know, and you will hopefully then be familiar with other students, as we said, staff that you may have seen in other visits as well. So I just want to talk to you very quickly around the process of applying. Now, some of these dates, even though they are fixed for the time being, there may be something we can do with some of these factors. But I just want to give you the overview really as to what is involved. You know, should you be wishing to make that transfer across. So what we're asking for all of our students, okay, you would have to apply online. Now, the application deadline as it currently stands has been set for the 27th of June, 2022. Now, that doesn't mean you have to have everything together, okay, and ready to submit. You can submit an application form and everything else can be outstanding. That is not a problem. The important part is ensuring the application to study at Cardiff Met is in our system by the 27th of June. Now, how you can do that is probably, I'll talk to you a little bit later on about, but the important thing really is to either talk to your partner managers, talk to your link tutors, your contacts on your own relevant institution to check on the process. Any applications that come in beyond the 27th of June, at this stage, I don't know if they will be processed or not. So it's really important if you're thinking of studying in Cardiff Met, it doesn't even have to be committal at this stage. If you're thinking of it, I encourage you to get those applications in straight away. And the team here then can check and process and advise you from there. We would then require, as part of the applications for your documents, and again, I'll talk about some of the documents required shortly. Okay, and then we have a deposit deadline, which again has been set for the 25th of July. Again, at this stage, we're not sure if those deadlines will move, but just to be sure then, okay, so you have to have applied before the 27th of June, and you have to have that deposit paid by the 25th of July, 2022. And again, speak to your team, speak to your partner managers. We can help you around the deposit, how to pay, the methods of payment, and ensuring the values are correct. You then have any outstanding conditions to complete and submit by the 22nd of August 2022. Now, by conditions, we appreciate that this could be your exam boards. You might not have had your results yet from your relevant year. You may be an outstanding of some other documents, but as long as you have that initial application submitted, your conditional offer is then valid until the 22nd of August for you to submit some documents to satisfy those conditions. Now, again, you know, we can help you with this. So again, it gives you the benefit of if you are looking to transfer to Cardiff Met, you know, it's an easier process because we can help with these conditions. If we know that your exam board isn't until mid-August, we can then work with the team to see what we can do around that to help you. Now, once you've satisfied the conditions, you would move on to your visa process and applying for your visa. And then it's a case of gathering the funds for the CAS, which I will talk you through very briefly, just because it is something I want to put on your radar should you be thinking of moving across. So in terms of the documents you're going to need, okay, just to apply, as a general rule of thumb, we're looking for your TNE certificates and transcripts. Okay, so we will require those in an official format. And again, we can help with those closer to the time. We need a full statement of purpose. Now, even though you are studying a Cardiff Met program now, it's treated as a new entry. Okay, so yes, we have you on the system, but we want that statement of purpose. And we're looking for a rationale for why you're either continuing this course in Cardiff or why you're looking to stay in this new program, a new master's in Cardiff Met. So the background on yourself, why the course, why Cardiff Met? Okay, and that is what the marketing team will be looking for when they make the assessments. We do then require documentation, so passports and any previous visas. Okay, so if you've been to the UK before, a letter of recommendation. So this is where you need to be nice and friendly to your tutors in your university and ask them for a letter of recommendation from themselves. Some programs as well will also require a CV. Okay, certainly for a master's program, we'll be looking at CV as part of your evidence. So in terms, once you've applied then, the process then to get the visa, okay, visa actually requires a CAS, which is a confirmation of acceptance of studies, yeah? So it's basically asking the university to confirm that we're happy to sponsor you as a student in order to get that visa. So to get the CAS, what we need to do, all conditions need to be completed. So anything that's been outstanding, anything's required from you, whether it's your transcript from your exam boards, whether it is a statement of purpose, all of those conditions have to be completed. You'd accept the offer, you need to pay the deposit by the deadline and achieve a 2-2 or above. That is what we'd be looking for our master's students here in Cardiff Met. And once you've satisfied all of those conditions, you move to a status which is known as unconditional. So there's nothing left outstanding on your application. And once you paid the deposit, unconditional changes to a status called unconditional firm. And it is those students that are in that category that then get processed for a CAS as earlier in the system. Okay, so basically my recommendation is to submit all your documents, pay the deposit, and then try to get unconditional as quick as you possibly can to put you in the pile for CAS. And the finance involved then for CAS is always a contentious subject, but I just want to make you aware of the values, okay, because they are very important in terms of obtaining that CAS. So the UKVI, first of all, state that the recommended cost of living in the UK is £1,023 per month. Now, they based it on the CAS on a 9-month residency. Okay, so what you would have to demonstrate is you have those sufficient funds to live in the UK for that duration of time. So that comes to 9,207. Of course, this is just a UKVI recommendation. Cardiff is a lot more affordable and cost effective than other cities, but this is just as the kind of the UK rule for entry. What you would then need to demonstrate is the cost of tuition fees. So after the 25% alumni discount that you would receive as a TNE student, so the 3,875, for example, that brings the course fee down to 11,625. So it is then the course fee and the cost of living is what you have to demonstrate in your bank in order to obtain a CAS. I appreciate it's a lot of money, and I appreciate that sometimes students, will be thinking around coming to Cardiff or, be looking for these funds. The important thing with the CAS, okay, and with this process is that money, that total value then has to be displayed and evidence in a bank account, okay, for 28 consecutive days before you have a translation of those statements that would be needed by the compliance team to issue your CAS. So if you had the translation for after 27 days, it won't be accepted. Okay, the compliance team will ask you to get a new translation to show 28 days. And again, for that value, if the value is less than what is demonstrated for the purpose of a CAS, then in effect, your 28 days would start again from the time that you have the relevant amount of funds in there. So it's really, really important. And this is my big tip. If you're thinking of coming to the UK, if you're definitely coming to the UK for a master's, then my recommendation would be to have these funds, if it's from a parents or whatever it is, whatever account, it's to have those funds in the account as soon as possible. Because once you have it and you have your bank statement, the compliance team can then issue the CAS and you can apply for your visa. It's a very, very long process involved. So the sooner you can get that CAS, the better for you. Now, obviously, as we said, your partner managers can help you and talk to you around all of these processes. Don't be afraid to ask. It's a very complicated sort of stage of sequence of events, but it's just to give you an idea that you can't apply for your CAS without the funds in the account. And as such, you won't be applying for the visa. So it's just something to make you aware, and just obviously to keep in touch with us should you need any more questions. Now, I was hoping to run through this live with you today with a couple of videos, okay? But as promised at the start, we do have a YouTube channel, a designated Cardiff Met International, it's called. So have a look, check it out, okay? It's worth looking for. It's worth looking at all types of the student environment, the city, the accommodation, everything is on there to help you, okay? And likewise, we are here to help you from Cardiff Met. It's a very interesting and enjoyable time for you, okay? It's something that, it's potentially scary as well, but we are here to help you, okay? We are here to help you make that transition. Remember, you are studying a Cardiff Met Award, so if you stay in your country, you will still be receiving that award. But if you do wish to come to the UK, you know, we are here to help. We're here to make that transition as smooth as possible. We encourage you just to speak to your academic staff, your link tutors, partner managers, and basically anybody you have contact with at Cardiff. Certainly students, you know, you will be familiar, you will probably already know students that are in Cardiff. Again, it's good to speak to those to get an appreciation as to what is involved. But you're all doing fantastically well, you know, and I speak on behalf of all the partner managers. We're looking forward to coming back out to see you. The link tutors, obviously the entire Cardiff Met team are all looking forward to seeing you soon. And we will be looking out for your awards and your graduations this year. So good luck with everything, and hopefully, you know, you'll achieve the awards you're looking for. And then should you wish to be coming to Cardiff, we're there to help you. So again, thanks to Sam for asking us just to run through this for you. I'm happy to obviously take questions via Sam, and we can communicate these back to you. But thanks again for attending. I hope you've enjoyed it. I hope it's been of use, and good luck, and we shall see you soon.
Okay, some really vital information there from Ryan about how you can transfer across to from one of our partners to Cardiff Met, if that's something that interests you. As he said, are there any questions that you'd like to ask me? And I can send these to Ryan via that email, or you can do it directly. I've put Ryan's email in there for you to contact him if there are any questions that you have, because he will certainly have the answers, whereas I will probably not at this point. I think Ryan's currently in Oman, and the opportunity to travel now is fantastic. So hopefully we do get to see you at some point. I can see Halima is typing. You can speak to me if you'd like to. I appreciate internet connections for some is a little bit low today. There's a bit of in and out for Dasid as well. So yeah, if you want to put your stuff in the chat, I can pass these on to Ryan, or you can do this directly through the email address as well, but entirely up to you how you'd like to do it. And I'm going to hand over to Natalie now. So, yes, Natalie, over to you. Thank you very much for being here with us again this year. We appreciate it.
Hi, Sam. Thanks very much. Hi, everyone. It's lovely to be here with you. Hi, it's lovely to be here with you and meet you virtually. As Sam said, it's really lovely when I can actually see people in person, as we all would love to do. This year, again, has not been possible, but maybe next time. But for now, it's just an online thing. But hopefully I can make this one interesting. I know it's your last session, so maybe you're a bit tired. I'll do my best to make it as interesting as possible for you. So can I just start, because obviously I haven't met you yet, can I just start by asking you just to let me know in the chat where you're from, where you are at the moment? Oh, Oman, excellent. We've got lots of students from Oman who like to come here to study. Okay, more Oman, amazing. I can tell you a little bit more about that as we go through the presentation. We had some groups of Omani students on campus doing some lovely things this week, so I can tell you a bit about that in a moment. Who else have we got? Nobody else? Okay. Just two from Oman at the moment. Oh, and Sri Lanka, amazing. ICPT, fantastic. So 2 from Oman, 2 from Sri Lanka. Amazing, wonderful. Right, one more question before I get started with you. Have you ever travelled overseas? Just a yes or a no. Can you just type in the chat yes or no? So yes. No, okay. Still thinking about it, just waiting. Okay. Okay, so some of you have and some of you haven't. And those of you who have travelled, have you travelled to the UK before? No, not the UK. Okay. Okay, so this will be good then. It's interesting to know, so I can work out how I'm going to go further with this presentation. Now I might need some help here from Kieran. Kieran, I'm new to this. I can't see my presentation. What do I do? Okay, I've got it. Okay, can everybody see the presentation? Just a thumbs up if you can see it. I'm assuming you can. Wonderful. Okay, so I'll get started. Okay, so you kindly told me where you're all from, and I can see your names. I'm Natalie Buckland, and I'm going to talk to you about international student support at Cardiff Met. I'm the head of the Global Student Advisory Service, which means I'm responsible for looking after international students just before they get here and then during their time here at Cardiff Met to make sure that they have a good time here, enjoy their studies and make the most of their time in Cardiff. So I asked you a couple of questions at the beginning just to find out about your experience of travelling, and the next thing I'd like to ask you is, so those of you who have been to the UK might be able to find this bit a bit easier, but all of you will have an idea of what you think you might need to make arrangements for if you were going to go on holiday. I just want you to write a couple of things in the chat. What arrangements do you think that you would need to make before you go on holiday? What are those things that you have to do before you go on holiday? Just give me a couple of messages. Any thoughts that you've got? What do you need to do to make that possible? Book a hotel. Yep. Plan your trip. Good idea. What else do we need to do to make sure you're going to have a good time on this holiday? Finances, absolutely. You need to make sure that you've got the money in place to go, to book the flight, to book the trip, and also whilst you're there. What else do you think you need to do? Or what did you need to do if you have travelled before? So if you haven't travelled before, maybe you don't even have a passport yet. Okay, so that's a really important thing. You need to make sure you've got a passport. I've written a couple of things down that I thought about, the things that you need to do before you book a holiday. So book a flight, make sure you've got accommodation. So somebody said that, book a hotel. You might need transfers. How do you get from the airport to your hotel? Insurance, it's important that you have travel insurance to make sure that if anything happens that you've got the means to pay for anything that you might have difficulty with. Some countries you might require a visa. That could be quite a long process. That's something you need to plan for. Money. So somebody said financing. So maybe planning finances to make sure you've got enough money, but also exchanging your currency to make sure you've got the right currency for your trip. At the moment, COVID tests are important. Some countries won't let you travel unless you've had the appropriate vaccinations or that you've done the appropriate testing. So that's an extra thing you've got to think about these days. Making sure you've got the right clothes to wear on your trip. What's the weather going to be like there? And then make sure you go shopping before you go on this trip. So make sure you've got your toiletries, your sun cream, or your woolly hat if you go into a cold place. And maybe any medication that you normally have, that you make sure you've got your prescriptions and you make sure you take your medication with you. What might you be worried about before you go on your trip? Anything you'd be worried about or concerned about? What if? Yep, weather conditions. Is it going to be too hot? Is it going to be too cold? Is it going to ruin your holiday if it's too hot or too cold? What else might you be worried about? The language, good one, yes. So when you get to this country, what if nobody understands you? What if you can't understand what people say to you? What are you going to do? That could be a big concern. And what if you forgot something at home? Yeah, so what if this essential item that you've forgotten at home, what if you don't know where to buy it when you get there and you really need it? Blending with society, yes. How can you make sure you get along with people and that you fit in? That's a good one. I think we've got one more coming through now. Communication. Yeah, so communication between the people there, maybe the people at the hotel, but also what about communicating to your family back home to say I've arrived safely, everything's okay. So even as far as, will your mobile phone work? Have you got the right package, or will it charge you a lot of money when you come to another country? These are all valid concerns that you might have when you're going on holiday. So other things that I thought about, what if there's a delay with your flight, and then if there's a delay with your flight, then what if your transfer doesn't wait for you to take you to the next place? So what if when you get to the airport, you can't find the people who are going to transfer you to your hotel? What if when you get there, the photographs of the accommodation that you saw online are very different to reality? So what about the quality of the accommodation is not what you expected? What if you have to catch a taxi and it's really expensive, or you're not sure if it's the right cost that you should be paying? Food, is that a concern? What if you don't like it? What if it's not what you're used to? What if it's too spicy or too bland? The language, some of you mentioned the language, and what if you don't feel safe, or how do you make sure that you're safe? So these are all things that people might be concerned about by booking a holiday for a week or 2 weeks, something like that. But I think when it comes to traveling to another country, traveling to the UK as an international student, you probably have to make additional arrangements, and you'll have additional concerns because you're going to be coming for a longer period of time. There's different things to think about because you're coming for a reason, not for a holiday. Okay, so let's have a think about that next. So is there anything that you think an international student might have additional concerns about? What might they be worried about coming to the UK? Outside of the things that you've already mentioned. So all of those things that you've mentioned that we've just spoken about going on holiday, is there anything different that you think an international student coming to the UK might be very worried about? So we're coming not to lie on a beach or to go sightseeing, although that is part of why you've chosen to become an international student in another country. Of course, otherwise you'd stay at home. So that is definitely part of it. But what other concerns might an international student have if they're coming to the UK? Halima's just giving us an idea of what she thinks. And I appreciate if you've not travelled before, this might be a little bit tricky for you to think about. Transportation, driving is different. Yes. So if we drive on the other side of the road, if the steering wheel's on the other side of the car that you're used to, that's a bit confusing. Difference in time, absolutely. So that's going to be different. Your body clock's going to be a bit all over the place. So you could be very tired when you arrive, and trying to adjust to the difference in time might be a bit tricky, particularly at the beginning. Yes. Anything else? So these are things that might be short-term concerns. Exchange rates, absolutely. Money, it's going to be really, really concerning. How much money do you think you might need? Will you have enough money with you? What if everything is much more expensive than you thought it was going to be, and then you're worried about your money running out whilst you're here? You're here for a year, maybe 3-4 years. So these are really valid concerns that somebody might have. And I think you would have this concern if you're coming on holiday, but just a bit more exaggerated if you're coming longer term. Will the inflation in Lebanon? Okay, with the inflation in Lebanon, yeah, absolutely, I know. Yeah, so these are really, really serious concerns that lots of students have. I'll just tell you a couple of the things that I thought about. So lots of students that come to Cardiff Met have, like some of you, have never left their own country before. So getting on a plane for the first time on their own without their family members is a scary thing. So already being nervous about travelling, that's a scary thing. Never living away from family before, and having to think about how am I going to do day-to-day things without my mum and dad telling me what I need to do. Okay, that's a concern. It's a big financial investment to come to another country, and it's not cheap to come to studying in another country. So it's a big investment. Have I made the right decision? Okay, that's another thing that people might be concerned about. Managing personal finances, like we've just said, what if I haven't got enough money? How do I make sure I budget properly? Pressures and expectations from family. So your family might be, in some situations, there's a lot of pressure that the family might put on a student to say, look, this is a fantastic opportunity. It's costing us a lot of money. Make sure you come back with that degree. So the feeling of the pressure initially that some students might have. Complicated visa processes. Applications, interviews, the cost of these applications can all be a bit complicated. And then what about when you get to border control at the airport? You might have seen some TV programs that might be a little bit scary about what it's like to come through the airport. Will they be friendly? What will they ask me? That's another concern. Is it safe here in the UK? Maybe you've seen movies about the UK, and maybe you've got a perception of it not being safe. Or maybe you think it's really, really safe and it's not something you're concerned about. But for some people, it might be a concern. What about racism? How will people receive me here in the UK? Will they accept me? Are there people, other people from my country or from other countries living in the area that I'm going to be living? Will I be accepted? Then visa delays. What if I'm going to come late to university but everything's already started and my visa hasn't come through? Will I make friends? Will there be people who are have similar interests to me and I can make friends with them? What if I really miss my family? That's a big concern for lots of people. And obviously, you've lived with your family all your life, you're going to miss them at some point. But will I cope without my family? Will I cope with the difference in culture? It's very different to what I'm used to. Will I cope with that? Will I understand? Will I fit in? And then the climate. Somebody mentioned the weather before. It's a really big deal. It's a big deal for me. If I go to a country and I'm too cold or I'm too hot, it affects my mood. So if it's very different to what you're used to, will you deal with that? How will it affect your mood? What about studying in another language and speaking in another language consistently all day, every day? That's a concern. Will I be able to do it? And then what about the education system here in the UK? Will I understand it? Will it be exactly the same as what I'm used to, or will it be very, very different? Availability of familiar social activities. So you might be very sporty, or you might have particular hobbies that you'd like to do. Will I be able to continue those here in the UK? Will I be able to make friends, find people with the same interests and make friends with doing these hobbies? Will I be able to find a job? Okay, these are all big concerns that students might have. However, this shouldn't put anybody off. If any of you are thinking of coming to the UK, every student will have these concerns. But once you get here, there is support available to help you and before you get here. So there's lots of guidance that you'll be given prior to coming to the UK to help you resolve some of those concerns so you don't have to worry about them. Ask the questions, we'll answer them and reassure you it's not going to be too difficult for you. At Cardiff Met, you may already know, we have lots of support services available for students. So central support services like student services that offer counselling, mental health support, disability support. We've got accommodation office, we've got library and IT services to make sure that you have the right support with learning how to use the library and the IT facilities. We've got a careers service for future careers advice or finding a job whilst you're here in Cardiff. And we've got the Students' Union, of course, who also support students through their journey at Cardiff Met. The Global Engagement Directorate, which is the department that I'm from, provides a dedicated service for international students. So any question, anything that a student is not familiar with or doesn't understand, or they think maybe I've got a silly question, I don't know who to ask, that's where Global Engagement can help. So we become your friends very quickly, and no question that you would have would be a silly question. We've heard all the questions before, so any question that a student would have, we would be able to answer, or if we didn't know the answer, we'd be able to help find out what that answer would be for you to help reassure you and make sure that you could continue with your life here in the UK, in Cardiff, and get along well. So we always refer to Global Engagement as a one-stop shop for international students. And that's because although we have central support services such as accommodation office, student services, etc., for international students, we encourage everybody to come to the one department, and then we will refer you out to any other relevant departments should you need to be referred for additional support. So we provide support and advice from the point of application to the university all the way through to graduation. So we're with you the whole time. So you get to know us quite well. Teams within Global Engagement are responsible for marketing and recruitment. So some staff their jobs are to travel in normal circumstances. They would travel to different countries, meet students and tell them about the university, tell them about the courses and suggest how they can make an application to the university. We have our own admissions team. So the admissions team is responsible once the marketing and recruitment team have been to those countries. They receive the applications and process the applications and liaise with the academic members of staff at the university and make sure everybody understands the type of qualifications you have and to ensure that they're equivalent to the qualifications that we need for entry to the university. We provide immigration and visa advice. So those complicated things, you've never done this before, you've never applied for a visa, anything that you're not sure about what requirements you need to make your application, we can provide support and advice with that as well. And we support students on arrival, pre-arrival and on arrival to make that as smooth as possible. We have welfare support for students, so that means support with any question that you might have, any problem that might have that's not specifically course related. So anything outside of that, whether it's where do I find halal food in Cardiff, where do I buy a light bulb, my light bulb's gone in my room, I don't know where you buy that in this country, anything like that, or I'm a bit homesick, any problem that you might have, then welfare support is available for you. We also have academic advice for international students. Now, this is a team of specialist advisors who understand that the systems that international students are used to in their own countries may be very different to what students are expected to adapt to here in the UK. So they are there to support students through that transition from an overseas education system to a British education system. What else does Global Engagement do? That's quite a bit that we do, but what else do we do? You might already know about these things, but the other parts of that we do, which might be slightly outside of the natural student journey to the university, is we have a Global Opportunities team. Now that team is responsible for offering exchange programmes and studying work abroad and volunteering opportunities for Cardiff Met students to have an experience overseas. So although for an international student coming to the UK is their overseas experience, you could be an international student in the UK and want another experience to another country. And also it's important that the local students here at Cardiff Met get an opportunity to travel. Like you, lots of students have never travelled overseas before. And this is an introduction to overseas life, opening their minds to being a global citizen. So these are opportunities. These can be short-term opportunities of a couple of weeks or longer-term opportunities of up to a year to study, work or volunteer overseas. We also have, which I'm sure you're very well aware of, our partnerships team, and they are responsible for supporting students in our partner institutions who are doing Cardiff Met degrees, just like the students here in the UK, and make sure you have a comparable experience to Cardiff Met students based in Cardiff. So just a bit more detail about welfare support. So welfare support is my remit. This is where I started. I was a welfare advisor when I first started my job many years ago, which is a fantastic job. It's amazing to meet students right before they come and see them all the way through and see how they grow all the way through their course and their time at Cardiff Met to graduation. I've got a fantastic team of advisors. They're so friendly, really welcoming. You can see a picture of a couple of them there on the screen, and they will help with, if you're coming to the UK and you don't know where to stay, maybe they will give you advice about accommodation. You might want to book into our university halls of residence, and they will, again, as it's a one-stop shop, they will help you with the bookings, give you advice if it's an external organisation that you're going to be staying with, making sure that you know how to contact them. And if it's a Cardiff Met booking, make sure that you know the booking process, and we would liaise with the accommodation office on your behalf. Airport welcome. So we offer a lovely airport welcome service. So students arrive at the airport, don't know where they're going next. If they arrive on the days that we have the airport welcome service, they will be welcomed by members of staff and put onto a transport back to Cardiff. Those people who don't arrive on those particular days will be given travel advice to make sure they know how to get from the airport to Cardiff and what mode of transport to use. Induction and orientation in Cardiff, really important. So we have an induction programme just for international students prior to the induction programme that your school or your course will provide for you. And the induction programme answers those burning questions and those concerns to try and resolve any worries that students have right at the beginning. So what about banking? How am I going to open a bank account? I'm worried I don't have enough money. I've only got some cash. Where do I register for a doctor? How do I do that? What if I'm not feeling very well? All of those immediate concerns that a student might have, these are all, we try and resolve them as early as possible once the students have arrived. While students are here, there may be lots of different reasons why they might need to prove to somebody that they're an enrolled student at Cardiff Met. It might be proving to a landlord, proving to a mobile phone provider, proving to an employer why you're here in the UK. And so we will do letters for students to make sure that you can prove your status here in the UK and to help you with all of those different things. We provide practical advice on living and studying in the UK. So anything that you might be unfamiliar with, procedures that you might be unfamiliar with, just to make sure that you can integrate into society and you understand how things work here. You know, do you understand how do you get rid of your garbage, your rubbish? If you're living in accommodation, what do you do with that? Is there a particular day that you need to dispose of that? Is there a particular colour bag that you need to put it in? Those different types of things we can help you and advise you with. We can provide visa advice and guidance. So this is pre-arrival for getting your visa in the first place to come to the UK, but also while students are here, they may need advice about extending their visas or switching to a new visa, or maybe there's some questions that you're not quite sure about your obligations as a student visa holder. What do you need to do? What do you need to be aware of? So that's the type of advice that we can also give. Emotional and cultural support. So when students might feel a bit down, a bit upset, or they're not getting along with somebody, or just feeling a bit homesick, then trying to help understand the way that people are feeling, and to and advise about the cultural differences here in the UK. The team are very experienced to be able to guide students through that and help them overcome any emotional issues that they might be experiencing. It's not uncommon. Most students will go through a bit of culture shock and go through these issues. So the team are very experienced of guiding students through to make sure they overcome that as quickly as possible. We, the welfare team, also liaise with different departments on your behalf, or refer you to different departments where necessary. So again, it might be a little bit daunting for students to go and meet lots of different people at the university, maybe a little bit concerned about language ability. What if somebody has a really strong accent and I don't understand them, or I'm a bit nervous about talking to them, or I'm not sure that I'm going to ask the right questions? Then the team will help and liaise with the relevant department on your behalf where necessary, or refer you if that's the preference. And referrals to other services. So where there is a need for additional support, for example, counselling, mental health support, or if there's any other, dealing with an academic, referring to a particular academic member of staff, then this is something that we can also do. And we try our very best to provide social activities and integration events for international students as well. It's really important that whilst international students are here at Cardiff Met, that they come and have a good time. It's not all study, study, study. You've chosen to come to the UK to make sure that you experience life in the UK in a different culture. It's not all about study. So we want to make sure that you get to know people and you learn how to have different, nice, pleasant experiences, and that you enjoy your time here. So that's another thing that we try and do. We also offer peer-to-peer support in the form of student ambassadors. So every year we recruit enrolled students. They apply for a job as an international student ambassador, and their role then is to support newly arriving international students. So these are the type of people who will be at the airport meeting and greeting you. They're an extension of our welfare provision. They are students themselves. They know how you might be feeling. Some are international students, some are local students. So two different perspectives to make sure that you can understand what it's really like as a British culture, and what international students have already experienced and overcome. So that's the important bit, that they were international students as well, or they were scared, they were worried about all of these different things. And I can guarantee when you see an ambassador, they've got a big smiley face and they are very comfortable here in the UK. So ambassadors are fantastic, really good people to get to meet, and lots of students feel that they can ask direct questions that maybe they don't want to ask a member of staff about what it's really like here, and they are really great ambassadors. We offer the opportunity for international students, or any student, to become an ambassador once a year, and they'll do that for a whole year before the next people can apply. So it's a really good thing to put on your CV if you become an international student ambassador as well. So another provision that we find, I've mentioned this earlier, another team that sits under my remit is the academic and international academic advice and study skills support. And it's really important. This is a big concern that lots of international students have about, obviously, you invest a lot of money to come to the UK, and you've obviously had a good experience overseas, and you've done well in your university education. But when you get to the UK, if you don't understand the British systems and you follow the old systems or the previous systems of what you're used to back home, it might be that you don't do as well as you think that you might be doing, because you don't understand the rules of a British institution. So lots of international students struggle with understanding, what is critical thinking? How do I reference my work correctly? I'm a bit nervous about doing a presentation because what if people don't understand my accent, or what if I'm not clearly spoken, or I'm really, really nervous? And what about the structure of the work that I'm doing? Is it acceptable? Lots of terminology is being given to me and I don't really understand what it all means. So when I said before, no question is a silly question, again, this applies to an academic question, which is a generic academic question. What's expected of me is what I was doing back home wrong if I'm now expected to do something else here in the British way? So the academic advisors will guide students through. They'll provide workshops and one-to-one sessions to support students and make sure we bridge that gap from an overseas education to a British education to make sure you're on track with what the academics members of staff are expecting you to do. So planning and structuring your essays in the right way that's expected of you, making sure that you understand complex academic texts, that you avoid common English language errors, that you understand what critical thinking means and you can give your own voice and your own opinion to your work, making sure that you reference your work correctly in the way that is expected at the university. And if you need support and maybe some preparation with your presentation skills or practice before you do it, then again, that's another thing that the team will offer. Very, very experienced staff. Okay, so as we all know, we've just been through a really difficult couple of years because of the COVID-19 pandemic, as I'm sure you all have as well. It's been a really, really difficult time. And for university, obviously university carried on, but lots of things had to change. So what's changed since the pandemic? So before the pandemic, there were provisions and some of them have changed. I'll just explain to you a little bit about what might have changed since the pandemic. So before the COVID-19 pandemic, our services, the global engagement services, we had on-campus face-to-face support with a drop-in service all day, working hours between 8:30 and 5 p.m. Now, we still offer that. We still offer the same provision on campus. There was a time when we couldn't do that, when everybody was working and studying at home. But now, thankfully, we're back to mainly how we were before, but actually slight enhancement, which I'm really pleased to say, that although we provide the same on-campus service with a provision where students can drop in, we also have an enhanced service where students can contact us for online appointments, which is often something that students like to do for some confidentiality, and if they're studying at home at particular times, then just having an appointment online is something that lots of students are really enjoying doing. Or maybe a Teams chat. It's something that is also available to students as well, asking a quick question on Teams. We used to have lots of email and telephone inquiries before the pandemic. We're actually getting a lot more now. Okay, so students have adapted. Students now know and want answers really quickly. They now know that sending an email and making a quick phone call, they can get a really quick answer. So we're seeing a higher volume of these because there are currently less students on campus. They're not in all the time on campus for every lecture and every seminar. So students were on campus before the pandemic, 5 days a week, attending lectures, seminars and tutorials. So it was all day, everything was in person before the pandemic. Now, students are coming in mainly for seminars and practicals and the lectures that they're engaging with online. And this is working quite well for lots of students to have that flexibility of not having to commute into campus every single day. Some students prefer to be on campus more, but we're hoping that as time goes on, more of the activities and more of the sessions that students can engage with will be back on campus. And then those social activities and on-campus activities that I was talking about before were always on campus previously. And now we've got a combination of some on-campus and some virtual social activities and competitions that we offer. So a bit of an in-between at the moment, but it's nice that we've just been able to have some on-campus activities recently for the first time in a very long time. So one of those things that we do on campus is Global Week. And that was actually this week. We're still in the middle of Global Week this week. And here's some pictures of some previous Global Weeks that we've had. So Global Week is something that we do to introduce cultural awareness and introduce the cultures and nationalities of different students at our university. We're so proud of how culturally diverse we are at Cardiff Met. And the students are really, really proud of their cultures and really, really enjoy teaching others about their countries and their cultures. So we never have to beg people to come in and get involved in this particular event. So The people from Oman, as I said, I will talk to you about this shortly. We always have a fantastic representation from the Omani students. They're always really willing to get involved and offer samples of traditional food to people at our Global Week event. You can see pictures here of people from different countries, China, Oman, Pakistan, Nigeria, Vietnam, but there's lots and lots of different countries and nationalities that are represented. And students really enjoy liaising and getting involved with other local students, and it's lovely to see that interaction. So it might be an introduction to food, it might be an introduction to language, maybe some crafts or costumes, national dress, anything like that. It's a really, really colourful event, and that happened this year. We had to do it all online last year, but this year it was in person. It went really, really well. We decorate the university with lots of flags and lots of music, and it goes down really, really well. So this year in previous years we have been able to have an in-person fashion show, and we'd like to reintroduce that again in the future. But this time we asked students to take photographs of their national dress, and we've put that online for students to have a look at. We asked students to video themselves doing a particular talent, so we can judge a talent show. Previously that's been in person, at the moment it's online, but that's a really lovely event where people can vote for their favourite talent. We share recipes from different countries and encourage people to try new food. And we also ask our catering outlets to put on international food during Global Week as well, so people can have different samples. The Global Village is what we call that event where different nationalities come together and share their cultures. So we call that the Global Village. And we decorate the outside of the campus and some of the buildings inside with all colourful flags, and the students love to see and point out and find where their flags are. It's a really, really lovely thing. And then we also do workshops to engage students in different things, maybe engage international students or local students in some workshops to teach them about culture, or for international students maybe to learn a bit more about immigration concerns, or to learn about getting a job or travelling overseas. So those are some of the things that are involved. I'm just thinking maybe how you could get involved. I mean, could you do something like this at your university? Do you already do something like this at your university perhaps? Is it something you could think of and maybe encourage at your university? Celebrate your culture. Maybe you could introduce the Welsh culture to your university. Do some research, come and ask us. Ask us what is the Welsh culture, and you could deliver that. It's a really, really lovely thing to do. So if you don't already do that, maybe it's something you could think of. Maybe we could do it at the same time, and we could then send information to you about our Global Week. You could send us information about your Global Week, and we could share that, because we are one Cardiff Met. We are Cardiff Met students, whether you're overseas or whether you're here. So it'd be lovely to integrate and do that together. So have a think about that. Maybe speak to academic staff, see what they can do, see if you can lobby for something like this. Start small at first. We started with one day, Global Day, and then we moved into Global Week. We had so much involvement. So at the moment, is this for students already in the UK or global students? Okay, so at the moment, this happens on campus, but I would love to see this happening across all of the different universities. If you didn't do something at the same time as us, but you wanted to do something at a different point, please communicate with us and let us know what you're doing. We would love to tell the rest of the university what you've been doing, but it's a really feel-good activity, and I'm sure that you would really enjoy it, and everybody around would enjoy it. Listening to music, tasting food, sharing recipes, teaching a couple of words in a different language, teaching a craft, for example. We've had people doing henna, or people loved having henna on their hands. We've had people trying to dress in different, demonstrations of how to wear different national dress. We've had Chinese paper cutting. We've had how do you write your name in a different language workshops. So all of these different things are really good ideas that maybe you could have a think about. At the end of this session, if you've got any questions about that or any ideas, then we'll unmute and we can have a bit more of a chat about it if you've got any ideas. Amazing. Thank you, Gardi. It'd be amazing if we could do this as a whole Cardiff Met thing wherever we are in the world. I would really love to hear about your ideas with that. Okay. I'm going to slightly move away from Global Week now and just talk to you about something slightly different, but it's something that also has recently fallen into my remit. It's a really, really important issue. I'm not sure if you know, but Cardiff Met in 2018 became a University of Sanctuary. It was recognised as a University of Sanctuary. Now, what that means is Cardiff Met provides a very welcoming and open support to asylum seekers and refugees who are here in the UK. We want to make sure that if you've had to flee your country because of war or persecution or having a very difficult time back home, and you'll come to this country, that we are happy to support you and welcome you, and we want you to feel welcome here if you are an asylum seeker and a refugee. And we've been recognised as doing a really good job with that, and we were recognised as a University of Sanctuary. So we're really, really proud that we had that award. Some of the things that made our application successful were things like we have a working group at the university made up of various different members of staff and a member of an asylum seeker who was studying at the university as well, to inform discussions and to see how we can make things more welcoming and easier for people who have had this very, very difficult time before coming to the UK. We provide support in the community as a university. This is not me, this is the university as a whole. We provide support in the community. For example, there are local charities in the UK that offer support to asylum seekers and refugees as soon as they arrive. We've donated computers to those charities to help with language skills, computer skills and integration. We also teach in the community in these charity organisations as well, and have university taster courses to help students with English language and again help with integration and moving on from the trauma that they've just experienced and help them integrate into life here, their new home of Cardiff. We provide Sanctuary Award scholarships. So these are scholarships for refugees and asylum seekers. It's very expensive to study here, and usually asylum seekers and refugees don't have very much money, having fled their countries and then maybe turning up with very, very little. So students can apply for a scholarship and we would award scholarships to good applicants, and they can have a full fee waiver and some additional support, financial support as well, to make it as easy as possible studying at Cardiff Met. We have a student-led society called the Star Society that's just building up again now. We've had a very successful Star Society in the future, and we're hoping to have another one led by students, again, to spread the word about how we can support students from different backgrounds and to give that support, peer-to-peer support as well, to students from asylum seeker and refugee backgrounds. We've had sports tournaments where we're bringing local community people in to Cardiff Met to experience Cardiff Met's facilities and to integrate with Cardiff Met students as well and feel part of our community. And we've had awareness raising and training courses to educate staff and students about asylum seeker and refugee issues. Another question for you, like Global Week, I wonder if you could lobby for anything like this in your university. Do you have refugees and asylum seekers in your countries? Does your university make them feel welcome? Is there anything else that you could be doing? Again, if you've got any ideas, we would love you to come on board with this and also try to become a University of Sanctuary to support students who've maybe had to flee their countries because of really, really difficult times. So as I said before, we are one Cardiff Met, you and us. We're all one. We're all from the same institution, from Cardiff Met. So final thoughts for us, and maybe we can have a chat in a moment. And if you've got any questions or if you've got any thoughts. So final thoughts, how about introducing Global Week at your institution? How about having a chat to your academic staff, your deans, about what you could do to make the university more welcoming for sanctuary seekers? We call them sanctuary seekers or forced migrants, asylum seekers and refugees. And I know from previous experience that lots of students have questions about, I'd like to come to Cardiff Met. I'd like to be an international student at Cardiff Met. How do I do that? So if you're interested in personally studying at Cardiff Met in the UK in the future, then go to our website, or just go to the website and search international, and all of the information about applying is there. You can send an email to askinternational@Cardiff Met, and they will be able to advise you as well if you've got any questions. So I'm happy to take any questions from you if you have any, or if you've got any thoughts about anything that I've just said. It would be lovely to hear from you. Let me just see who we've got asking questions here. I can't be. Okay, so I'm not sure who asked first, but I've got Noor and Halima. So should we start with Noor? Hello? No, we can't hear you. Okay, no, we can't hear you at the moment. I'll come back to you. Maybe we can resolve that in a moment. If not, maybe you can type something in the chat. Shall we try Halima?
Hello, you can hear me?
Yes, we can hear you, Halima.
Okay, good. Basically, I wanted to add before when you said about the cultural week. We had for SAC, we did a cultural day, and it was actually virtual, but
Okay.
it happens to be very, very lovely at that time. But I really like the cultural week, or what was that? Cultural
Global
week?
Week. We call it Global Week.
Global Week, yeah.
Yes.
That was that's a great idea. I literally WhatsApped Noor, which is head of English Club, and I told her that we should do that as a collaboration between English Club and SAC. So it's
Absolutely.
really lovely. And we can collaborate with you guys too to welcome us. Also, it's fine to be virtually, but you were also welcome to be part of that.
No, that would be amazing. Anything like that that you could involve us in would be so wonderful. And maybe next time we could reach out to you. So, for example, we did fashion show and talent show, and they were virtual. Maybe you could get involved in that, and it could be something that's judged as a whole. So it's not just students based here in Cardiff who are showing us their national dress and their talents, but maybe you could do that as well. And the judge, it's an online thing that you vote for, and maybe everyone could get involved in that. That would be really lovely. So maybe we can think
Indeed.
about for next time, or if there's anything different that you'd like to do now, then let us know, and we can sort of spread the word at Cardiff Met to say this is what you're doing, and we can do a big article about it and make sure all of the students know. So it'd be really good if we keep sharing.
Sound lovely. Sound lovely. Sure.
Wonderful.
We will do that indeed.
Wonderful, thank you. Okay, Noor, did you result? Can we try Noor again before we go to Gardi? Can we hear you now, Noor?
Hi, Natalie, it's Kieran here.
Hi.
I don't think Noor's mic's working. I think he's going to type his question
Okay,
in a chat. Yeah.
No problem.
Okay.
Wants to know more about applying as an international volunteer. Hang on, I need to put my chat back on. As you mentioned earlier. Okay, Noor, do you mean an ambassador? Do you mean an international student ambassador? Or do you mean of volunteering overseas, like a global opportunity? Ambassador, okay. Okay, so no, okay, yes, no. Volunteering internationally. Okay, so this would be like an exchange, I guess, something like that. So we have opportunities available for Cardiff Met based students to go overseas and do study work volunteering overseas. There are also opportunities, usually study, sometimes work opportunities the other way, so coming into the UK as well. And we are currently bidding for some funding for some new schemes. They're called Turing and Tithe. So we're currently in the application process trying to get some more funding to be able to offer these partially funded opportunities to students, whether it's sometimes they're incoming and often outgoing, but there's sometimes a bit of a mix. And you might have heard of Erasmus before, Erasmus funding, and this would often facilitate that. Erasmus is being phased out because of Brexit, and it's something that there are new initiatives that are coming forward instead. Now, if you wanted to learn a bit more about that and ask some questions, please contact our Global Opportunities team and go to our website. There's an incoming student section on our website. If you go to Cardiff Met's website and you type in Global Opportunities, then all of the information will be there. There's a section on incoming. There'll be information on volunteering, study and work. Please have a look there. And if you've got any questions, the email address that you can ask those questions is on that webpage as well. So I hope that answers your question. Oh, yes. Amazing. Thanks, Sam. Perfect. OK. Gardi.
Hello.
Hello.
Hello, how are you?
I'm good. How are you?
I'm fine, thank you.
Wonderful.
So first, I want to thank you for this amazing presentation. It was really fruitful. It really inspired me.
Great, thank you.
Second, I want to say that from Lebanon, we are really interested in collaborating with the UK. We are really interested in exchanging cultures, knowledge, everything.
Okay.
So, but we don't know specifically how. Okay, now after this presentation, I know really better, but I look forward to know more how to do this process for me and for the students I represent. So my question is, how can we get in touch to like plan events or exchange or representatives here or there volunteering? Anything that could like exchange cultures, because I know Lebanon has been a little behind with Cardiff. Now I'm trying to make it really better. So
Okay.
that's my question.
Amazing. I'm really pleased to hear that so many of you are interested in sharing. This is something that I really would love to do. Well, so Global Week's just finished now, but it doesn't matter that our Global Week is finished, because we could help you to set something up back home, giving you the ideas, giving you information about our culture or British culture or different cultures, sending you some resources, that type of thing. And maybe you could do the same, and we could maybe, what we want to do is make sure that as many students as possible and staff learn about different things in your countries. Now, the Students' Union would be a good liaison for that as well. So you could either speak to Sam and he can liaise with me, or you can contact me directly and we can set something up where you tell me what you might like to do, or you say, oh, what do you think about this? Do you think this might work? And from our experience, we can tell you that worked so well in Cardiff Met. Oh, we've never tried that. That would be good. Maybe we could do it together. So I think have a chat to your friends. Have a think about what you'd like to do. So do you want to have a day of doing something, or do you just want to have a couple of activities? Do you want to do something where we get international students here and talking to students there about experiences? Should we, do we set up a webinar or something like that? Whatever you think, have a think about it, and then maybe get in touch either with Sam or with myself, and we can go from there and see where it leads us.
Okay, I will definitely do that.
Wonderful.
Thank you really for your help.
No
Also,
problem
I have
at all.
a second
Yeah.
question. What about exchanging students on campus in the UK, like trying to the full UK experience? How can that be arranged? Of course, for one, for two, I don't know how many students you can.
Of course.
Because I know it's hard for funding and for everything.
Yeah, so we have with certain universities we have exchange agreements, and sometimes it's possible, depending on the agreements that we have with different institutions, to have that exchange. So for example, the agreement might be that 2 students can come in and 2 students go to that institution, and sometimes that arrangement can be for a semester. Sometimes it'll be for a whole academic year. It obviously has to, if it's for study reasons, it has to make sure it doesn't impact your education. So it needs to make sure that the modules that you're doing match with the modules that we're doing here, and that there's no interruption to study. Again, any question that you have about that, please go to the Global Opportunities page, find the email address there and ask those questions about, is there an opportunity for me to have an exchange? And they will be able to answer those questions for you, because they know where these exchange agreements have already been set up, and if they're not set up, is there a possibility for any exchange agreements to be set up? There are also, as I was saying, with the new schemes coming on board, the Turing and the Tithe, one of them allows incoming and outgoing, one of them only allows outgoing, and we don't have the funding for that at the moment. Normally what that means is the funding will go towards the experience, so either towards the tuition fees or the travel or some of the costs. So that's how the funding is dealt with. So we haven't got that funding just yet, because these are new schemes and this is what we're bidding for at the moment, but there are existing opportunities. So please get in touch with the Global Opportunities team and they'd be happy to answer any questions that you might have about potential future opportunities for you.
Okay, thank you really so much.
No problem. Are there any other questions? No?
No, it's all clear. Thank you very much.
Wonderful. Oh, it's been so nice to speak to you. I'm really pleased that I had the opportunity to meet with you. As I said, it's lovely to see you in person, but this is just as good. At least we can do something like this. But it's been really nice to hear from you. Thank you for listening. And I hope that wasn't too bad of a last session for you. I'm sure you're really, really tired. So that's it. So well done for getting through the whole week. And maybe I'll hear from you again. If you, as I said, if you've got any of those ideas, then please do get in touch. Thank you.
A massive thank you to Natalie for that absolutely superb session, and I can see some massive interest in potentially coming to us, and also some more global collaboration as well, which I think is what we really want from this, and kind of emphasises what the week is about as well, knowing that you are a part of our Cardiff Met family and how we can engage with you further. That, as Natalie said, is the final session of this week. So thank you for sticking with us. It's been a pleasure to host you this week. Going forward now, I'm going to be sending around a little questionnaire for you to answer for me, if you can give me 5 minutes of your time, just to kind of get a view of what you thought of this week and how we can improve it in the future as well. Hopefully, as Natalie said, we might be returning to some on-campus activity next year, and I think the in-person thing is something that we'd all really, really hope for again, to get that experience as best as possible. So expect an email from me with a link to a forms. Hopefully you can fill it out for me, just to give me some feedback as to how I can improve this for next year, if it is going to be online. We don't know just yet, but yeah, and just a massive thank you for your engagement for the whole week. You've been an absolute pleasure to host, and just truly know that we really value you as partners, specifically from the Students' Union, but also from a Cardiff Met perspective as well. And we really do hope to see you, whether that be you coming to visit us at some point, whether that be graduation, whether that be coming to join us on study as well. And just a massive thank you to you all for your engagement this week, and a massive thank you to Natalie, and massive thank you importantly to Kieran as well for facilitating our IT for this week as well. Thank you so much, mate. You've made it so much easier for me, so thank you so much. And as I said, thank you, and I'll be in contact very soon. But that from us at Cardiff Met, thank you, and we'll see you very soon. Okay, take care.